match point, so they threw everything onto a strange strategy, which is good to know that they're willing to do such a thing, but it is still quite scary to look at and be like, this is something, do we practice for this? How do we deal with this kind of thing?
Yeah, and for me, more so it was also the games before, but Towers of Doom was something where we've seen especially worst positioning perform pretty well during the open division. That's of course something we're going to come back to tomorrow. But for now, let's head into our first draft, and the first thing that happens, Leftovers, they have done their homework. Banning out Samuro. Samuro has been played several times in the past by Granit Gaming. They have 5 games with the hero and 4 victories. Very annoying to play against, so a great ban from Leftovers.
It's a terrifying prospect. They are so good on this hero and controlling the battlefield. But we see in exchange Granit Gaming banning out one of the most powerful assassins at the moment, the Tracer, and immediately, with the Malfurion taken away, we get some map control in and some great engage potential with Abathur and Garrosh.
There's already a lot of cool stuff happening here, and I'm really liking what we're seeing for various reasons. Now, first of all, we talked about Samuro as a ban, but let's face off against Tracer, because when we're talking about Tracer, the cool part is really that for Leftovers, we have, of course, DAB just being absolutely terrifying on that hero. And they have a 60% win ratio with Tracer, 6 wins and 4 losses. Now, that doesn't sound insane, but if you put that into perspective and you realize that Leftovers only win 24% of their games, that's all of a sudden a crazy win rate. So, great tool for the Leftovers. Granit Gaming acknowledges that, takes it away immediately. They themselves opening up with Garrosh and also Abathur for macro control here.
And you talked about it, it makes a lot of sense as well, banning the Tracer away. Even if Malfurion is picked up first, it's such a good combo, but someone else Malfurion works pretty well with here, the Maiev. Warden's Cage into that lovely route from Malfurion can be incredibly difficult to deal with. So a solid pickup, but of quite early Dahaka. This is something we actually do miss a little bit in Open Division.
It's one of those things that Granit Gaming, on the other hand, has excelled with. Their Dahaka track record is a 5-0, which is nothing to frown upon. So if not for Abathur, I could have definitely seen them go into a Dahaka play as well. Now, we have seen Dahaka and Abathur combined in the past, that this would have still been an option here. But also interesting to see Maiev again, since I feel that's more so something that we see from the HGC teams a lot more. In North America, Maiev has for a long time been an absolute pillar in their drafting. In Europe, throughout the last few weeks, it has become more and more important to get Maiev. Team Liquid leading the charge with all of it, but then also other teams starting to say, okay, we feel she is really powerful, especially combined with, let's say, a Stukov, for example, when you can tether someone back into a stun, into a root, or into a silence.
Zeratul removed, another one of those great burst arrows. You can see at the bottom of your screen as well. The vote, currently a lot of faith in that Open Division team. Despite their Samuro being stolen away, there's still a huge amount of faith in the audience. 80% of people think that Granit Gaming can take it.
What interesting is, I find personally very interesting that we have such a fast draft, especially at the opening. So you can really tell that, of course, there has been a lot of research going into the drafting here, and both teams came in with a very clear idea what at least the basis of their composition is supposed to be on the first map. Now, one of the questions that we will have to answer throughout the series is how do the teams adapt once that their strategy might not really pan out? How can they react to an opponent? And you need to have that flexibility. We've seen actually Zealots in the past doing extremely well by just finding one draft, and other teams having a bit of a problem adapting through that mid-match. So that's something where Leftovers and Granit Gaming are potentially being tested as the game continues.
So what we're seeing here is the Phoenix being locked in here, but with a Rhaegar. Now, Rhaegar Vasadas are very good with Abathur in general, so that's pretty decent, but it means they have skipped over Stukov in favor of Cleanse and a bit more burst healing potential here with that ancestral healing. Of course, Rhaegar also does have a nice slow, which can synergize really nicely with that purification salvo of Phoenix. But it's still, considering how high Stukov is prioritized these days, a little bit strange.
Yeah, also interesting, it's not only the Rhaegar. Rhaegar is interesting since he has the cleanse that he brings to the table, and we have seen especially teams that come from Open Division, Leftovers was a very good example at the beginning of the year, to prioritize Rhaegar a lot higher. You have the burst heal available to you, you have a little bit more playmaker potential maybe as well. He's a great copy for Abathur too, which we shouldn't neglect here. You have a lot of sustain during the fights. But also, picking Phoenix over Hanzo. Now, we see Phoenix a lot more in HGC recently, but at the same time, most teams that you talk to will flat out state that they feel Hanzo is just the better hero and can just do more and have more of an impact here. So interesting that Granit Gaming decides to take Phoenix over him. And yeah, Phoenix could, in theory, Okay, that has already been negated, but in theory you can put Phoenix onto the offlane. That's definitely something that we have seen a few times right now.
Global Panic Cracker.
Exactly.
Pretty effective.
That's the first one.
Ganks.
And he actually does really well because of his AoE. I mean, what do you want from a solo laner? You want to have some wave clearing. Yep. He has that for sure. You have the mobility. You have also an escape tool that you can utilize. And he's in a really good spot there. So they chose Blaze now as their last pick, and that means they have a very good solo lane and a dedicated one at that. But they could have also chosen to go for a bit more of an unorthodox draft and maybe even head into another damage dealer and then have Phoenix for the beginning of the match up at the top lane, and then later on Abathur can take over.
They could have. It's very strange. They've got a lot of laning potential. Their wave clear is, I will say, probably superior if we compare it to Haka's good on the side of leftovers. Hanzo's very effective as well. But the engage potential definitely seems to be leaning towards Granit. Hard engage, especially with Garrosh and Blaze, can be really hard to deal with. I don't know, I'm looking at Granit Gaming's composition and I'm feeling pretty good, but there's always that Maiev factor.
There's also another thing to consider here, and that's that leftovers don't really have anything to save a target that gets flipped.
Yeah.
In the past, one of the tools that teams used were, let's say, a Medivh, for example, who hasn't made an appearance this year. I could have definitely seen some Medivh play coming out from both teams, but especially from leftovers.
Just wait for tomorrow. There'll be loads of it.
Oh yeah, definitely. with worse positioning, there's absolutely no doubt. But they also, like Tacita has been played in the past, trying to provide that shield so that the target that got flipped can still escape here. Now you have a Nubarak at the front, and that's at least one hero that has an escape tool available. Maiev is in a similar spot, so as long as you position yourself properly, there are definitely some tools that you can use to get away. But if there is a follow-up stun with, let's say, Blaze, for example, using the jet propulsion, then there's a lot of threat happening in these 5-match situations. Again, what I like, on the other hand, for leftovers is also that with the Nubarak, we have seen a lot of aggression in 5-man fights, so you can try and go in, get the cocoon, especially on Rhaegar, once that he's trying to use his Ancestral, and just shut that down in the team fight and confirm a kill. So, both teams with a solid draft into the first one, but since this is a best of 7, we can definitely expect things to change as the games continue.
All right, speaking of games, we're heading into game number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Towers of Doom leftovers versus Granit Gaming. Let's do this, the first game of the European Crucible in 2018.
And starting things up on the left side of the map in our first game of the Crucible, Leftovers versus Granit Gaming. We have the Leftovers with Portiboss on the Haka, Lauba on Nubarak, Bleak Kidney on Maiev, Hanzo played by DAB, and Linked on Malfurion.
Whereas on the right-hand side, hailing from the open division, it's Granit Gaming, with Rhaegar played by Nappa, Phoenix played by Minecraft, Garrosh played by Ulf, Abathur by Raid Boss, and Blaze is being played by Kurwa.
The Germans trying to invade the HGC again. Granit Gaming here trying to pull a bit of a Team Liquid. We also have at this point a couple of talents that we should probably highlight. Now, when we talk about Abathur, now first of all, of course, it is the Carapace build again. Nothing too unusual, but in case you haven't really seen too much in the recent past, this is the go-to build. But also Wolfrun now taken on Rhaegar. So Knappe has a little bit more wiggle room here. It's so cool to see Knappe actually also in here. I mean, we talked already a lot about Raid Boss, but Knappe now in the same spot. And Ulf, on the other hand, he is having some trouble here early on in the game. Garrosh taken down as the leftovers are starting with the aggression.
Yeah, great tether by Maiev to set that up, and Garrosh, even with his armor, even with his healing, cannot tank through all of that damage, and he is taken down as first blood. Good dragon by Potiboss as well. Kurwa takes a huge amount of damage, but with Pyromania and little bit of extra healing from his own W, he is back to mostly sustainable health.
Now, leftovers, they were very, very confident when they were talking about the series. They really feel that they got this now. There were a lot of tweets from the team earlier on as well, where they just highlighted once more, we are ready, we want to take this. And I feel for Granit Gaming, it's going to be very difficult if they start falling behind. If you ride a bit of a momentum train from game number 1, it's always a bit easier, you know, find your rhythm. But if your rhythm gets broken by an early loss, then you need those experienced veterans like Kierva, Knappe, and also Raid Boss to just like bring everybody back on track and on the same page.
Yeah, you need to keep calm in a long series like this. Like you said, both teams have players, in one case an entire team of players who are experienced in this kind of format, but it can be exhausting, and we've seen that exhaustion come into play in the past as Nolbert looks for a move in, can't get it, so we're just seeing a quick clear up onto the Sapper camps by leftovers here, keeping a lot of pressure onto this bottom lane with this 4-man, while Dahaka is trying to double soak to the best of his abilities.
Exactly.
But Blaze is pushing up against it.
really good point. The double soaking from the Haka, because with the Abathur draft that Granit Gaming has, leftovers are now trying to foment the bot lane. They're really trying to control the lane as much as they can, break through the structures, and of course, in an ideal world, claim the bell tower itself. And with the Abathur draft, that is made a little bit easier for them at the beginning, but it also means that Poryboss is on experience duty right now. He needs to roam between the two lanes and get the experience. We see Blaze trying to do the same. Abathur's helping out with the soak to an extent, but definitely a setup where there's a lot of pressure early on Granit Gaming, and it's reflected in the experience lead that leftovers already have.
We can really tell as well, we mentioned the talent at the beginning, just how much Dahaka intends to be in these fights, going with that level 1 tissue regeneration, as we already talked about, along with Hero Stalker coming in here. So he wants that hero essence from takedown, so he's going to get stuck into these fights, and this talent shows it.
In the meantime, for Malfurion on level 4, we have Broccoli taken again, so trying to get that extra damage in, and that can really add up. And it's not only that, it's a great tool if you're trying to interrupt potential tribute channels. Here comes the aggression already, Garrosh comes in, but Poryboss with that drag against Phoenix, and that's the problem. Minecraft barely getting the warp out and is able to escape.
Indomitable just in case from Ulf. He eats a lot of scatter arrows, but he has survived. They move back, and it's going to be a 2-for-1 here. Rhaegar only just getting the altar on their side due to some great delaying tactics by Maiev earlier on in this altar phase.
The shots fight here again, and DAB still working and arranging the tower down in the bot lane. We talked about that slight advantage and experience that the leftovers have already accumulated, and that is going to continue as they take these structures down. And of course, the pressure play on the bot lane, that's the more important part, since if you claim that tower and you control the bot lane, you can take access to the two mercenary camps and always threaten additional shots against the core.
We see a scouting raid coming in here from Loba. Kura will shut this down, though, with a nice move in here. We'll be able to zone Loba away, and the Sapper camp will be taken by Granit. They've taken theirs early enough. They could try and make a play onto their opponents, but they don't have level 7 yet. They're not comfortable to do so.
Yeah, we only saw one kill so far in the game. Not much more outside of that. A cleanse, of course, coming in for Rhaegar now. This is going to be one of the key tools for him in the situations to come here. Yep. Grillin kill as well taken, so already thinking about facing more on the team fights. Now, oftentimes when we see the Incinerator Gauntlet, it's more so about trying to get the extra wave play in, which is insanely powerful if you need to soak throughout the game. But there's a lot of team fight focus here with those fights. And talking team fight, we are already starting another one. The drag is good again. Ulf is in trouble, uses the Indomitable and barely moves out for now. But leftovers again showing a lot of aggression heading into these fights.
Ulf's armor 100% saving his life there, but he is alive. He is able to grab the fountain just in time for this objective. Great timing for him to be able to survive that. Combat advantage coming in here. All in on this slow style build from Phoenix, combining it with target acquired at level 4.
And I really like the way that Poryboss is currently playing this. Now, he has done a great job soaking the two lanes. Yeah. Blaze has tried to interrupt him, but he didn't let that happen. And his drags so far have been absolutely spot on. So he has great timing here for the engages. He was always able to find a target. But now he might be in a bit more trouble than he can handle. Nice. Getting the burrow here. Lava coming in too. Maiev is able to escape here as we still see the fight happening over the altar to the top left.
Yeah, lovely Phoenix delivery service there to try and get that kill onto Maiev, but not able to do so. But now Loba in big trouble. Kura not landing the thrusters, though.
Exactly, the jet propulsion here being used for the additional lockdown, but Loba was already moving away. And because of the position of the altar, Granit Gaming is willing to let this one go. Now, of course, with them running the Abathur composition, level 10 is going to be absolutely crucial to get the copy. You have great targets on the other side, Rhaegar being one of them, as we talked about. But he's not the only great copy target. Basically, you can pick and choose whatever you need in these fights right now. Their setup is perfect for an Abathur. So many potential copies and so much utility here. With the extra stuns, you can go for Blaze, you can go for Phoenix. But of course, if you need the sustain, Rhaegar is going to be your friend. And again, Minecraft just barely getting away from this. Leftovers targeting him very, very directly, but he's always able to move out.
Yeah, and that is really interesting. Despite the huge amount of lockdown Nubrak offers, the teleportation only takes a second, and of course you are gone from the map during the teleportation. So as long as he gets out, he can sustain up thanks to his shield, thanks to the very minimal amount of healing Rhaegar actually has to give him. Yeah.
Now, Granit Gaming having to check something out here before we are continuing, but we already have our heroic abilities taken on the side of their opponents on the leftover side, at least a few of them. And I think the interesting one is definitely Tranquility. Now, we have seen Tranquility in the past popping up more and more, but of course, Twilight Dream is still a tool that can be terrifying, especially when we're talking about masses on Malfurion, let's say like Zelia, who has in the past turned a 3 versus 5 fight around with a simple Twilight Dream and just obliterated opponents. But the sustain here in those fights, super important around those altars. And now, of course, now that's going to make it so much easier for Leftovers to go to sustain fight.
I completely agree. And the fact is, the Oh, okay, I'm just going to stop that sentence there, because Containment Disc coming in for Maiev. It's so rare to see that here, as Ulf throws in Blakitny. Here comes the Tether, but Ulf just walking through it.
Yeah, going straight in for this one. But interesting with the Containment Disc, we have 2 tools now available to isolate targets here.
With Abathur being potentially out of some fights, this could mean some fights turn into a 2 versus 5.
I'm actually interested to see how they're going to use this. If they're going to use 2 at the same time and just say, okay, let's use both and then just try and kill a target immediately. Or if they're trying to stagger them to keep someone like Rhaegar completely out of the fight, or maybe one of the tanks, or even the damage dealer. But by now, the more important part is when we're talking from a macro perspective. Bottom bell tower has been claimed by the Leftovers, and this is really putting them into the driver's seat now.
Whereas we see Granit Gaming just cleaning up the Sapphires, preventing extra shots. But like you said, they're playing super defensive now. Even though they're even on talents, they have their own Heroics Purification salvo for that Phoenix, especially powerful, the amount of slows they already have. It's still difficult, no matter what. Even if they win this objective, they're down shots. And right now, looks like the strategy from Leftovers is to delay this as long as possible, but give it up in the end.
Yeah, and I mean, the reason why Leftovers were able to get that bell tower to the bot right in the first place. Nice cleanse. Knappe is there. Minecraft is able to keep himself alive, and the Ancestral helps too. But the same as he's able to move out, the fight's still continuing. But here comes the isolation. Blakitny wants to go in for the kill, but he can't get it, and they're turning on Raid Boss and the copy now.
The double garrosh, but Raid Boss tanking through it. Ulf with the Indomitable. He gets out. No kills acquired, but a huge win on that fight by Leftovers.
But that's insane that Granit Gaming didn't lose anyone here. I mean, first of all, we talk Phoenix, and how is Minecraft still alive?
We spoke too soon. Down it goes. Rhaegar gets taken out. The defensive moves now. Minecraft just pinging in those phase bombs to clean out the lane, but now they're in a rough position in terms of defense of that bot lane.
Also, you have to keep in mind, this is only the first map of a best of 7. But it is the map choice of Granit Gaming. Granit Gaming chose to take this. And Leftovers, they have 6 games played on this map, and they only won 2 out of the 6. So for Granit Gaming, this was already one of those maps where they said, okay, this is how we're going to get a head start here. But they fell behind from a macro perspective because of the earlier level 10 for Leftovers. That was really the crucial part. That's when the bell tower fell. Boss here ganked up at the top, but you can't just break through the Dehaka's defense at this point, especially if you only have 2 tanks going up against him.
And Garrosh, he's not Garrosh, sorry, Dehaka, he's gone for so much sustain. Like you said, with that tissue regeneration, they've only got 2 kills, so not too much essence gain there. But overall, he's already on 9 out of 10. He's nearly complete. He's going to be complete super soon, so it's working out for him.
And Leftovers is really focusing on that bot lane right now. They want to maintain the control of the bell towers, and of course, they're always going to attempt to get some of these mercenaries through for the extra shots. The important part here to note as well is that they have taken the level 13 talent now. So it's a significant advantage in experience, and that's why Granit Gaming is very hesitant to commit to any fight now. In an ideal world, Granit Gaming would try to get level 13 talents before they engage into a battle. But there's 5 versus 3 bell towers on the map now. And the altars are spawning again. Granit Gaming will have to try and at least control 1 or delay it long enough so that they get 13 for a fight. And that's going to be difficult. But they can't afford to lose both altars. That would be 10 shots off their core.
Here's the plan. They're going for a quick blow-up on Maiev. Great taunt. Easy kill for Granit Gaming. That's exactly what they needed. They can now try and control one of these altars, even down that talent. They don't need it as of yet. They'll take the shots. It's only 3. They still don't have control of bot. But that was a clutch move with that gank.
And it was so important for the reasons that we pointed out before. You don't have your 13, you lost the bottom bell tower, so you're already behind in shots fired. So a very unfortunate situation for Granit Gaming, but then they find the kill. They set up the trap, and they make it perfectly work here for themselves. Kill Maiev, and now they also have a chance to reclaim the bell tower. But Leftovers, they're going in, and here comes the Cocoon, the Dragon, Phoenix once again, and he's down! Great kill here for Leftovers!
Phoenix is deleted! Here comes the bunker by Kuro. Sakura for the defense, but Boss is pushing through. The healing from Nappa, too much though, but Phoenix deleted from the battle there.
And the more important part, they also kept the bell tower. Super important here for them. Even with the mercenaries rushing in, they still have bot lane control. A 2-level lead by now, 4 leftovers, 3 kills against 1. The kill against Phoenix, of course, adding even more control, and they are still dominating this race. 29 shots, or 29 hit points on the leftover side, 18 for Granit Gaming.
That kill was 100% down to Boss. The Dragon Arrow coming in, immediate cleanse. It was one of the best cleanses I've seen from from Rhaegar, played by Nappa here. But Dahaka, he delayed his drag tongue till the unstoppable of the cleanse was gone, and then exactly as that happened, pulled him in.
Outside of the death that we saw earlier, Nappa played a fantastic game here.
Yeah.
His cleanses are always on point. He had some great ones in the first big team fight as well, and his Ancestral was absolutely clutch. But in this case, there was just no saving Phoenix. And now Granit Gaming is again a talent behind, 16 against 14 in levels, and we have a triple altar phase coming up.
It's going to be all about the ultimate evolution for this. If they want to contest, to fight any of these, looks like they might want to try and raid top. Now that's the plan.
The big problem is leftovers have also a mercenary camp moving through the bot lane, so Phoenix has to react to it. And this is now a situation where you take 2 altars and you have 10 shots. Again, the exchange, a 1 for 1 for now, 13 hit points on the side of Granit Gaming, and they have 2 heroes at the bot lane. They make the best out of the bad situation. They can't. First of all, they had to keep Phoenix at the bot lane to defend against the camp. But then they realized that with the positioning of it at the top left, there's little to do. So their thought process was, rotate 2 heroes down and at least reclaim the bell tower. And that would have been great if Net for leftovers immediately calling the bluff, so to say, moving down and still holding on to it. I mean, things are currently really starting to spiral out of control of Granit Gaming a bit. 8 points on the core against 26.
Yeah, that bell tower just won't die in the bot lane. They're holding on to it with all of their might here, just keeping that control. Very classic strategy here. But they continue to just pile on the pressure. This is a rough area to fight in. We will say that. There is if leftovers make one mistake, Garrosh is perfect for this kind of scenario to punish you if you overextend. But leftovers currently not letting that happen.
Yeah, absolutely right what you just said. Garrosh is so terrifying when you're close to that death zone in particular. Now we have a level 13 talents. Rhaegar, of course, now having a few more tools to keep heroes alive. The Earth Shield is a fantastic tool, especially if you're just trying to buy another second so that you can get your Ancestral out. And with all the pressure that has been on Phoenix, this is fantastic for him. 16 talents are finally in, and that actually makes Garrosh a lot more dangerous as well. Not necessarily because of his own talent, but because of adrenaline boost on the side of Abathur.
And that's going to be a pretty big deal. That speed boost, you can see him charging in there, looking for a target. Not getting it for now. We've even seen a little bit of Soma transference added in there. The maximum possible sustain build coming in from Abathur. Let's see if it works out for him, because they're finally on even talents. There's only a single bell tower. This is the time.
And they also reclaimed the bell tower at the bot lane. So there's a single altar that we're going to fight over, but this is now the moment. You're on even talents, you're on even bell towers. This is where you can make your play. But the problem for Granit Gaming is that leftovers are so far ahead right now that they can simply say, why would we fight here?
Yeah.
We are so far ahead, we can afford these few shots. We have a global as well that we can use at the top lane to pressure another bell tower. We are absolutely willing to give this up, because if we just prolong this game a bit more, we are going to be the ones to hit 20 first. Yeah. We are going to be the ones who can put the pressure on with Dahaka. So there's a very good chance that if we play the slow game here, we will find ourselves in a big advantage again quite soon.
Top lane is still alive though. That's especially thanks to the Needle Spine from Abathur, actually forcing Dahaka to back up. He took a big chunk of damage. Oh, the bunker to dodge the Dragon Arrow. He's still rooted though. Back to the bunker for the last second. Moves through the fire. Pyromania. Bruster pack. Ancestral. But there's the Cocoon. Immediately pops. Nice job there by Kura. But Nappa is in serious danger. Purification Sample goes down. Nappa is taken out.
Nappa is taken out, but Boss might still be in a bit of trouble. So is Blake Hitney. Kierva trying to heal himself up once again. Ulf on there. Oh, he needs to be careful here. Garrosh needs to be cautious, but once again, Abathur is there to save him, at least for now. But the chase is on already. Once again, the speed boost. Abathur helping out to keep Garrosh safe. But Rhaegar falling still turned the fight in favor of leftovers, and now they're running all the momentum here. They're trying to go in again for Minecraft. But even though they can't confirm another kill, they reclaim the bell tower.
Yeah. Ultimate Evo's down. It's basically was 2 versus 5 in that bottom lane. There was no way they could defend that. Bottom bell tower is gone again. And guess what? It's Ulta time. And it's a rough one. Ulta in bot lane. Guess where you don't have a fort. But the quick attempt on the kill. Warden's leap. Lakidney gets out. No help. The turnaround on Ulfoti takes the kill. And they're setting up for another Keldor.
Here comes the Cocoon and they want him. They already have the kill against Garrosh. That was the important one. Can they get the second? Bodibos goes in. The bunker is there, but is that going to be enough? They're trying to go for Blaze again. Here comes the stun. Cleanses out. Knappe keeps them in the game, but already Malfuri moving down to the bot lane, trying to get the ulti here as the fight is still raging on in the mid lane. Leftovers about to hit a level 20. They get the 5 shots fired, and that puts Granit Gaming down to 3 points on the core.
Yep.
Boss can end the game now.
Boss can end the game. A full mercenary camp can end the game. The next Ulta can end the game. This is do or die for Granit Gaming. Here comes the first potential win condition, the mercenary camp. This has to be defended. This opens up the possibility for Leftovers to go for boss if they want to. They're putting on double pressure.
Serenity now taken as the level 20 talent here for Malfurion. Trying to go for the cooldown reduction, get the extra healing in, and that gives them even more sustain. It's a terrifying setup now for Leftovers as Granit Gaming is struggling to somehow get back into this first one. They're trying to defend against the camp at the bot lane. They know the pressure at the top is going to be important here as well. They need to stay around the boss.
Yep.
Leftovers are showing, but I don't think they're committing to this. They're just trying to bait it a bit, see if they can get a good fight, and if at any point they feel confident, they could still go for it, because let's come back to what we said earlier. You have Cocoon and you have Detainment Disc.
They just used Containment Disc. That was
Cocoon should also still be in cooldown for another couple of seconds, but if they would have continued, it should have been ready in time. It's still something you can consider. You have level 20 and you can go in, you can try and make it work, but why would you? Look at those altars. You have the bell tower at the bottom right. What does that mean? That the bottom altar is basically not accessible for Granit Gaming. And all they have to do is buy time now. That's all they have to do.
Yeah. And luckily for Granit Gaming, all of Leftovers have shown in this bot lane. This is where the mercenaries are. This is where Leftovers are. These are where all of the win conditions are, because Tahaka can't do boss on his own. So Granit Gaming, they have to win the fight.
Yeah, but how can you sustain yourself? Your opponent has a fountain at the bot lane. You don't. So from a sustain perspective, you can't take it. Link is going for the channel.
There it is.
There's no interrupt. There is no interrupt. This is Abathur.
Abathur tries.
With a slap.
It's too late, though. Shots come in. Great idea, but just too slow. Leftovers take game number 1.
At that point, Abathur trying to go for the slap. I mean, you can already tell that they are desperate here. But that is game 1. Leftovers with what I would say a pretty clean victory.
Yeah.
More so from a macro perspective than anything else. Really playing well around the rotations on the map. Dominant.